Hey everybody, welcome to eTrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Malone Downloader J-Style Kayak Carrier here on our 2021 Chevy Spark. Now this can be a great little way of getting your kayak to wherever your destination may take you. As you guys can see, you're going to get a lot of great little load assist options right out of the gate. This big front plate at the front makes it really easy to take the weight of the kayak, get it here, and then start shifting it onto our carrier. Especially being on our Spark, I like how easy these guys are to use. Of course, we don't have to go too high with our kayak, but any little bit can help, especially if our arms are a little fatigued from paddling all day, or if we just have a heavier kayak and we just need a little bit of help, we definitely can start utilizing that. On top of that though, if you guys are wanting a way of actually getting a nice little load assist option, the Downloader does have a T-Lo's assist system that can go ahead and clamp on right here and have a nice little ratcheting way and work our kayak up with a nice sliding option. Now, you will need a little bit more of an overhang than you normally would on a lot of your other kayaks. So here, I think you need still about 3 inches extended from your car. So we may have to look at getting longer crossbars here and actually setting these a little bit more to the outside. However, that can be a great little way of just giving us a little bit of help to get our kayak up here. Well, as you guys can see, we are getting a lot of little good straps with it here too. We are going to have these straps that come included with the kit. These make it very, very easy to tie down our kayak. As you guys can see, we have both of our strips going across our kayak, pulling it and pushing it into our carrier. Later on, as we go to take it off, take note of how we have it in exactly. Therefore, we have all that pressure pushing against our carrier, and we're not going to have any issues with it wanting to bounce out for ourselves. Again, too, you are getting bow and stern anchors, and that way we can go ahead and make sure that our kayak isn't going to be gusted by any wind. We can go ahead and keep it level for ourselves as we drive. Well, let's go ahead and start taking a closer look. For our anchors, we actually do have our included bow and stern anchors here for us. So pretty simple little solution here. We just have it ran through our holder on our kayak, and then we have a little S-hook here at the bottom, guys. So this becomes really easy to find a nice attachment point. A lot of times in the Spark, you're gonna have those little tie-offs inside our hatch. Of course, if you do have a hitch, that can be a great little option as well, or somewhere else where we can get good frame contact that isn't gonna be fraying our cord, of course. And with that too, it can be a little kind of challenging to find a good access point for there. We always try to suggest, if you guys are having trouble with that, taking a look at the eTrailer kayak kit. It's gonna give you some commonly referred to as dog bones, just little foam pads that make it really easy to give yourself a temporary mounting point anywhere underneath your hood or even here in your hatch. Can be really easy just to stick it right here and you have a good access point. However, these guys are definitely going to work. It can just be one little extra step to find ourselves a hook. Now, one thing that was definitely on my mind when looking at the Spark, can this actually fit a kayak with the carrier? As you guys can see, it does a good job, and I think we are being helped a little bit by our vortex bars that we have on here. So as long as your crossbars are gonna be at this height as well, looks like we're doing a pretty good job making sure we actually can fit within our hatch here. So that's definitely something you love to see. Now, there's not gonna be a lot of cargo space in the Spark, of course, but we might have something that we do want quick access to. Well, that does bring us to our strips here as well. And one thing about this carrier as well, guys, you do have a 75-pound weight capacity with it, so we should have no trouble getting most of our kayaks up on here. And as you guys can see, these straps do a pretty good job of just cinching down, keeping this nice and tight to our carrier. You'll notice how we have it ran across our one end of our strip. It's coming to right here at the end of our cam buckle, and the rest of it is going across back around that top element and back across our kayak here. So all that pressure again is being pushed into our carrier. You can see our strip goes underneath our crossbar itself. That really helps your carrier if you can put a lot of that strain on your crossbar systems. And then of course right back underneath in here and tying back into itself, allowing us to cinch it down. As you'll see too, you do have this little pad here in the back. That's great, making sure our cam buckle doesn't scratch up our kayaks at all, especially if we were to have this nice and flush for ourselves. And the bigger your kayak, of course, the more contact you're gonna have. All we have to do though is to simply release it, just press in on that, allowing our strip to come out, and then we can pull this back through the rest of the way. Now, one really cool thing about Malone, they actually do have a nice little plastic holder at top. So a lot of times you'll have to end up taking your strips off. What's cool about this guy though, all we have to do, walk this guy to the side, and it actually will stay up on here. So if you guys can see how we have this in place, we have our little plastic clip here, and that does a great job allowing us to hold it in there. And I'm actually a really big fan of the Downloader, because what I can do, guys, is I can load that first, and then I can put this to the side, and once I load my kayak up, I can simply grab my strips, walk it across, and start cinching it down. Now that we have our straps off, we can go ahead and actually remove our kayak to do so. I really like to push the bottom in. What that's going to do, take this top weight to start rotating towards us. That allows us to grab it, but still all the weight is still on our carrier. I'm simply balancing it. Then I can go ahead, get my bottom hand ready. And as you guys can see, here can be a great little resting point, especially when you go to mount it, guys. Walking right up to here and then shifting it into the carrier is a huge help. So now that I'm released, I can just simply grab my kayak and get paddling. Now that we have the kayak off, we can go ahead and take a closer look at our carrier. It is going to be made of a lightweight aluminum, which makes it really easy to actually mount it up there. And of course, we won't have to worry about corrosion on any of our elements. A couple things with it too, you are seeing, have a nice little foam pad here. Now these guys are kind of like your marine foam. Not going to be too squishy, but hopefully holding up really well to all of that rain or that wetness that our kayaks are just naturally going to have. At the top here too, you are seeing just a little cover. Now these can be easily taken off and cleaned. As you guys can see, they definitely are what's going to be getting dirty pretty quick. And they do protect that foam on the underside as well. That makes it really nice to pull these off, get them cleaned. Therefore, we are going to have a nice clean carrier. We've already talked a little bit about that plastic clip at the top. That does wonders for us to actually get our kayak mounted. And as you guys can see here, of course, this is going to be able to be changed. This isn't a fixed point here, so our J-style is able to be moved. What's great about that, of course, we can cut this down and we can pull in the drive-throughs, of course, or at least the garage. It can definitely be helpful to collapse these down, especially when we aren't needing it on use. And it makes it really easy too to actually keep this on our vehicle when we aren't fully utilizing it if we want to. You guys can see here too how it is mounted. It is just going to have a simple little flange mount here at the bottom. These two knobs can be backed off, allowing this to swing underneath to be getting out of the ways, whichever side we need to. Now we do have it here on the Aero bars, and I think it does a good job on the Aero bars. The only things to watch out for though is if your bar is very thick, you're not going to have too much reach here on these bolts. Now these can be quickly changed out for any kind of bolt that can actually fit in it. So if you need it to be longer, say maybe you have a really, really thick crossbar, you can get those bolts changed out. Just keep in mind that those don't come in the kit. They will have to be purchased separately for ourselves. Now that does bring me to my one caveat with this guy. It doesn't have any great security measures. So as you guys can see, no good way of securing our carrier to our roof. What that means for us, probably gonna have to take this guy off and put it inside our vehicle when it's not in use. Now again, these flange mounts make it really easy to pull those off. The hand knobs take about 10 seconds to take off and put back on. However, it can be just one more thing to do, especially if you are just trying to enjoy yourself. It can be a bother. So if a locking element is really big for you, I highly suggest taking a look at the Akama J-Lo. That's going to give you a great little locking core feature. Therefore, you can go ahead and make sure our carrier is attached to our roof when we leave it unattended. However, not going to be the end of the world to take this off or even just leave it on there and be a trusting human. However, we'll leave that up to you guys. Well, as you guys can see too, again, we can go ahead and collapse this down. So let's go ahead and see exactly what we're working with here on our height. So from the top of our crossbar system to the very top, with the plastic piece is going to be about 19.5 inches. Without that plastic piece taken into consideration, going to be right under 19 there for ourselves. So definitely going to be a little bit of height that we'll have to consider. Let's go ahead and see how we can collapse that down. So again, we just take that lever, real easy system just to pull it to the side, allows our teeth to rotate, and then we can bring it right back into position that we need it to. So it looks like the top of our carrier plate here is going to be our highest point from the roof bar that we have on here today to the very top is going to be putting us at 5 1/4 inches there at the very top of this. So as you guys can see, that can be a great little way. Dropping this down, now we can pull in the garage and have no trouble doing it. Well, as you guys saw, the downloader is going to give you a lot of great options. I'm a really big fan of this front plate, and I really don't think you can beat that load assist. If you guys are having a little bit of trouble getting your kayak up high, luckily the Spark not going to be the tallest vehicle out there, but it can really help, especially if you've been paddling all day, your arms are tired. It's just one more thing to have to worry about. I would highly recommend getting a little bit more of an overhang, so a little bit of a longer crossbar system is allowing us to utilize that, and that can be a great little pickup for us. Of course, though, the Malone on itself going to do a great job. That front plate makes it really easy to load, and I don't really think you can beat it too much. There are a couple other J-style Kayaks carriers out there. Again, the J-Lo can be a great little pickup just if you're worried about that security measure. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for our look at the Malone Downloader J-style Kayak carrier here on our 2021 Chevy Spark. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.